Hello, viewers. It's the LHC pod, and you know how we roll here. We're bringing you the best scintillating, not just that, educative topics on the platform. And if you've been following us, you know that we are the best in town. And of course, I'm not alone. I do have my very wonderful, amiable Lola with me. Lola, how are you doing today?
I'm amiable.
Well,
Caught you off guard, didn't I?
Well, if you are not, I have to present you in the best light, of course. But again, she's also troublesome, in case you don't know. But we do that behind the scene. First of all, chop your knuckle.
Yay.
That is how we welcome you to the show. Welcome. It's been an amazing, wonderful week. For me, it's been a bit hectic because I've been moving around the country. For work. You remember the Rihanna song, yeah? But we have to work for our money, right? We can't just get it from the trees, so we have to work for that.
How would you keep up this hairstyle if you don't work?
Don't take Lola for her words, right? So, okay, we go on a short break and we will be back to tell you whom we have with us. Thank you.
See ya.
Hello, welcome back. It's been, like we said, it's going to be an amazing time, and we do have a very special, wonderful guest. And talking about the special guest, you recall that the past week we had the girl child.
Oh yes, we had a celebration of the girl child.
Yeah.
Specifically the International Day of the Girl Child. And that's recognizing the efforts at ensuring equality for girl children all over the world.
And to all the girl child women, we celebrate you. We appreciate you. We understand and we appreciate the role you play in the society, in bringing, you tend for the society, and bringing everybody, just ensuring that everyone on earth is okay. We do appreciate you, and we understand, we love you. We thank you very much for your amazing work. And basically, that brings us to what we have to discuss this week, right?
Yes, issues around the girl child.
Maybe we should, first of all, introduce our guest.
Absolutely. Our delectable guest today. It's someone that is passionate about the issues surrounding the girl child, and as a former girl child herself, or should I add myself to that too?
I'm not changing gender. I'm still a girl.
Exactly. Sometimes they identify. People now identify as different things. I was just telling Lola a few days ago that maybe I'll just identify as the president. If that will give me access to the seat of power,
Well, if you can think it, you can do it. Well, don't quote me.
All right.
So yes, we have with us today the wonderful barrister Osarobo. Please give it up for her.
Yay!
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
You look fine too.
How's it been?
Good. We've been up and about.
Fantastic. You've been. I know that you went for a conference a few days ago where we had conversation. Yeah, just share with us how the conference went. It's something that has to do with the girl child, right?
Yes. So the International Women's Lawyers Forum. We call it FIDA. It's also known as FIDA. It's the international body for female lawyers globally, all over the world. Actually has a Spanish origin. So, but the English translation is the International Women's Lawyers Association. So what we did was to sort of, in commemoration of the United Nations Girl Child Day, which was yesterday, October 10, we visited some girls' schools, just a bit of sensitization. Because we cannot continue to just keep this society in isolation of the people who really matter. So we had to go to them, let them know what their rights are. They may have heard a few things here and there, you understand, but at least letting them know what their rights are, letting them know we are always here to help. So if there are issues of sexual violations, issues of molestation, they can always get legal services for free.
Especially in Africa.
Yes, absolutely free. So we offer pro bono services.
Oh, nice.
So indigent women and children, the most vulnerable people in the society who can't get help. So we also make partnership with some of these schools. So if, for instance, they need counseling, they need guidance, they need legal representation, the association will do it for them absolutely free.
Wow.
Yes.
Whoa. So you see what people are doing, standing up for the girl child.
Yes.
Education. And that is very crucial. Well, that brings us to our topic,
Yes.
and
Yes,
we allow
yes.
Lola to
Yes.
unveil. Lola the unveiler.
Lola the unveiler. I'm coming for you.
Okay.
Anyway. So yes, it's talking about the girl child, and we just felt it would be a good opportunity to expand to issues of feminism. And as you know, it's a topic that's often misunderstood. Some people think some sort of things are feminism, which they are not. So I want to clear the air a little bit on that today. So let's even step back a bit and talk about feminism itself. You know, what are the wider issues that brought about feminism, and what exactly does feminism stand for? And I know this is going to break a lot of people's preconceived notions, so look out for that. So,
Okay, thank you for that question. Okay, like the saying goes, if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
right.
So there are certain rules of interpretation when it comes to law. At certain times there's a way you can look at certain things from the English perspective.
Yeah.
We call it the literal translation. So it does not necessarily translate to its entirety.
Okay.
You understand? So I would like to, the feminism, the movement has always been from time immemorial.
Okay.
And it's not restricted to any gender. There have been men in certain times in history that have been very vocal about the cause of women. So it's not really restricted to only women fighting for the cause of women. So the whole idea came about in the medieval era.
Okay.
Far back as you can remember,
okay.
where women were seen as property.
Yes. I think they call them chattel.
Yeah, chattels.
Yes.
They didn't have any rights. They
Yes.
didn't have any identity of their own.
I'm shocked.
Yes, it dates as
You're
far
shocked.
back
It
as
shock you.
It shocked me.
in those days. Like, okay, if you watch epic movies, in those days, all of these wars patterns, all of that. When they go, this king goes to overthrow this other kingdom. You kill all the men, take the women as part of the property of that kingdom, and bring them into your own kingdom. So when these women are by any means in the possession of this man, she's equal to his property. And if a king, for instance, dies, the next king taking over inherits the women in his kingdom, including the property. In fact, the women are used to be shared like property.
Whoa.
This is crazy.
Yes, even in Africa, it still happens till date. If a king dies, the women of the former king are sometimes subject to inheritance.
Is that the reason why
inherited.
sometimes in some cultures you still have when a man dies, the relative has the tendency or the right or is it order of first refusal to say
Not even just the relative, the male relative, maybe like the brother.
yes.
It is what it is.
Wow.
It is what it is. And it still happens till date.
Wow.
It's not something of 10, 20 years ago. It still happens to date. So that was the basis upon which the concept came about. To say, okay, there are universal rights.
Absolutely.
That should be attributable to any human being that is human, that has the features of a human. So some people will say, okay, why will you exclude this class? There was a certain time in history when it was believed that women did not have the mental capacity to have education.
who said that?
Yes.
Just bring them, let's fire them.
Just go and read history. But today, women are doctors, women are lawyers. Women are lawyers, women are all sorts. They can be anything they want to be. That was what we were telling the girls yesterday. You understand? So there was a certain time in history that it was believed that women did not have the capacity to own property.
Yeah, and even voting rights.
Yes,
even
you could not vote. Even right
listen.
to health care. You could not have it without the guidance, without the supervision of a man.
I think that in recent time, there were tweets on social media because it's part of this conversation that we're having, right? And it's good that we point these laws out. That the immigration, before you can apply for, is it passport or visa? In Nigeria, you need the
permission. It was stated that you need the permission of your husband
to write.
Yes.
And I think that there was a judgment some time back where a professor won that. I don't know if it's still functional, if that is still applicable, but there's been contention around that, and that why the question for me is, why is the female gender seen, or why are certain rights, the equal rights, still not given to the woman, the female gender? Why are there barriers upon barriers and upon barriers?
Okay, it is an issue that is deeply rooted in culture.
Okay.
It's not just an African thing, it's a global issue. Like I said, if you remember what I said earlier about the era of conquest, when conquest was a method of acquisition.
Yeah.
You know, when they come into these territories, kill, fight, whoever is the victor takes these women and the children as part of property. So it was these issues were what gave birth to the feminist movement. Initially, it was not a formal movement. It was not formal.
Okay.
But you had pockets of people here and there throughout history. If you take your time to do the research, there were different people, both male and female, even some kings, even Plato. At some point had some writings and was like, these people, they have the capacity to have education. I've observed, I'm a philosopher, I've taken my time to observe this category of people. I can say they have the capacity to have education. They should be given the right to education. So it's a conversation that has been coming from time immemorial. You know, when people talk about, for instance, Fumilayo Ransome Kuti, you know, one of my favorites, Nigeria, that bringing it home now. People say, oh, she was the first woman to drive a car. She was not just the first woman to drive a car.
In fact, that's even the least
she
of her
carried
achievements.
the burden of the generations of women before her. And don't just look at it, drive a car. Like, she even went ahead to take the risk, thinking about it deeply, to have learnt driving without being issued a learner's permit. So in a way, it was a big time revolution. You know, she must have taken the risk to learn. And then one day I said, okay, today I'm going to drive in public. So meaning that there are people who are also waiting for you to fail.
To say, you know what, I would drive.
Yes, I would do it. If the ever wants to fall, let it fall. So I drove here today because she has breaking the barriers. So that's what we are talking about. So, you know, this movement is something that we want to start talking about. It's a very, very pathetic history.
And I know that the feminist movements in novels, in writings, in activisms and all have been. Could you shed light on how it has evolved over time? Is it still the same thing as it were in the old? Are people doing enough? Is it more of over talking? And because again, I know that we do have one or two voices out there, or some voices who are still pushing, but I think that the narrative in the public space has increased, and beyond what the gladiators of the old have achieved, what are the new voices pushing into this generation or into this conversation? Because those who have lived before, who took the mantle, have been able to push to a certain limit, level. The voices today, where are they taking this fight to? And maybe we should start from there.
Okay. Thank you for that question. This question is a very significant one. I remember the first time we had the conversation. You know, with all due respect, I can say that writers have done fantastically well. From stage play, from writing, from the media, from public sensitizations. I think the literary world has done considerably well in bringing these issues to the limelight. Issues of widow marginalization, the cruelty that women suffer and go through, you know, behind the scenes. They have really tried. So I give them their credit, you know. So, but when it comes to the modern trends, which has to do a lot more on social media, for lack of a better word, it's I can describe it. I like to picture things in my mind. I like to, you know, visualize things a lot. So I can say that movement is like a train that is off its tracks.
Yes.
Are you serious?
In fact, I love
it's
that
a train that is off its
yes.
tracks. The concept of feminism from time immemorial was never a domestic issue. It was never the subject of, why is a man opening the door for me? it means that I'm weaker. Well, that may be an issue of concern for a few people, but how many women in Africa have access for a door to be opened on their behalf in front of them? You understand? So to me, there are bigger issues.
Okay.
Far bigger.
There are far bigger issues. As we speak in this country, there are men who have 10, 15-year-old girls in their bedroom. These are girls who have no business being in marriage. Because of the both biological, medical, and all of the other issues that are associated with being a woman that is in marriage. You understand? You know. So I feel that there are bigger issues that the current trends is not really defined.
It's not the question of washing plates.
It's not the question of washing
That
plates.
is not what.
The foundation is
Yeah.
that there's a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which the Constitution of Nigeria has also adopted.
Yes.
So the issues of rights should be founded on the Constitution.
Right.
It should be standing on legitimacy and law. It does not exist in a vacuum. I cannot sleep in my house and just have an imaginary right. You get my point?
Absolutely.
So these rights
Yes.
are clearly stated in the Constitution has stated, okay, this issue that you have raised, does it infringe your right to life? What specific rights that have been provided in the Constitution, or what legal rights that arise out of law legitimacy that has been infringed by reason of these issues that you have raised? Because it then makes it legitimate, it then makes it enforceable, and it then makes it achievable.
Achievable. Okay. Got it.
So we shouldn't bring feminism down to domestic.
Well, of course, there are other.
I'm not talking about domestic violence. I think I need to clarify that.
Yes.
But talking about household chores.
So you mean domestic issues generally, right?
No, of course, it could be if you say, okay, women empowerment. Like, okay, we should create a balance. But of course, when it comes to issues of marriage, it is the parties in it that will decide what works for them.
Exactly.
You understand? There are some women that are very happy to be at home while their husband is earning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I cannot say because he is not working for me, therefore he will not work with the next woman.
Exactly.
So these people who are advocates, who call themselves feminists.
Social media warriors.
Okay.
Exactly.
Social media ninjas.
Yes,
So they should tone down so that the real narrative can take the center stage. Is that what you're
I
saying?
think there should be, and we should harmonize and decide, have a clear sense of direction.
Okay.
We should come together. Everybody is important in this struggle.
Absolutely.
You cannot isolate social media from the reality.
Yeah. Okay.
It is here to stay. And it's a very potent weapon that we can use to create awareness. You understand? So, but I'm saying that the movement can come together. There can be a structure around it.
Okay.
I think it's only in Africa that you really do not have. Okay, some other African countries, they've made an attempt to bring a structure around it. But in Nigeria, I think we need to come together and agree on what we want to push. I'll use the Bring Back Our Girls campaign as an example.
Okay.
The objective was clear.
Yes.
A group of people came together and said, oh, these girls have been kidnapped from school. It is an infringement on their right to education.
Yes.
It's an infringement on their right to liberty. You cannot hold somebody against their wish.
Yes.
It is discriminatory.
Yeah.
You know, the sexual abuse. All of these issues are issues that are protected by law. You get my point? So they had a common goal. And it was clear, and they stayed until they saw it through to the end. So I think that's what the feminist society in Nigeria, those who call themselves feminists,
Yes.
movement, or people who are sympathetic to the cause. I think everybody should be a feminist. All come together.
Yeah, we should all be
all
feminists. Yes,
we should
because
all
that's
be
the reason why you and I are here today.
Yes,
as
it's
professionals.
a matter
Yeah.
of equality. Make the world a better place for the next person.
Exactly.
Well,
So
this is a nice place to go on a break. We shall be back. Welcome back. We've been discussing feminism.
yes.
Yeah, basically feminism. And our guest on the show today has expatiated so much
Yeah.
from telling us about the history behind feminism movement to where we are today, and also understanding the rule of law and the laws that govern both the male and then the female in the society. And she's been amazing so far. She's a barista. In case you have to...
D-Law.
in case you just jumped to the middle point of this conversation to start watching. Yes, basically, that's it. That's what we've been taking so far.
Okay. Yeah. So D-Law, listening to you,
is it D-Law or D-Law?
Oh, Joy. Okay, D-Law. So listening to you speak, it was instructive to understand some of the issues that have been behind the whole drive for feminism, and it brings forth the understanding that we indeed should all be feminists because it creates a more balanced society. So let's even talk about some of these issues now. What would you say are some obstacles basically that are facing the progress being made by feminism? Could it be things around legislation or culture? What would you say are some of the obstacles in this case? Okay.
In recent times, like you are saying, the challenges of feminism in recent times.
Yes.
The movement has made significant progress. Significant. Like, I have an education today because some other people fought for it. Because they say, no, give girls the opportunity to be educated. Give them a chance to go to school. Like I mentioned Plato. Yeah. One of his early writings was like, these people have looked at this category of people. They seem to have the capacity to have education. So
why should that even be a conversation in the first place?
It will shock you. It will shock you the struggle that women go through behind the scenes.
And that shows you how far we've come, because now it's shocking. Yes. But this was life.
It was life. There was a time they were not. They had no place in the classroom. So in terms of education, right to healthcare, I'm a woman. You're a woman who can walk into any hospital now and get care.
Yes.
You can even
be
have
treated by fellow women.
Yes. When I had my last. Children had a set of twins a year ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My husband was not even in town. And they just came to me and said, oh, madam, we'll be having a C-session. Oh, what do we do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, just give me the list and I sign myself. Yes. Before, back in the day, never used to be that.
We've been waiting for the man.
I would have to breathe in and hold the contractions until which is not possible. So a lot of women lost their lives because they did not have access to. You could not have access to medical care, right to own property. In a lot of places, you can buy a property of your own, although I heard some landlords still discriminate against having female tenants. Till dates.
Yes.
So the older generation of landlords.
Are you sure? Okay, let's not go there.
It is real.
It is, but...
Did you say, are you sure? You
can't relate now. No, you can basically... I think it's beyond just the gender.
Okay.
It comes with other things. Some landlords have reservations, especially when you start bringing... Let's focus on the conversation.
But a lot of women go through that challenge, especially unmarried women.
Yeah, sometimes they even ask them, said, where's your husband?
Ridiculous. So... they've come a long way in terms of education, access to healthcare.
Yes.
I drove my car here, thanks to Mama Fumilayo of blessed memory. Right to, we are in the military, we are everywhere. There are female doctors. All of this may look
astronauts
casual today, but it's actually a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's part of the things that they have achieved so far. So you are saying obstacles that are so in recent times, I think especially in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, I think the issue that we are having, the main obstacle is with us. Before, let's leave it inside out.
Okay.
It begins with us. A lot of women have a misconception about the movement. There are some women who are pro-family life, and they feel that by identifying with those who have a voice to promote the cause of women means that it's anti-family values, which is not true.
Expatiate on that.
Okay, they feel that that the movement believes you
shouldn't have a say.
They feel that women who are sympathetic to the cause, who promote the cause of feminism, cannot be in marriage.
Yes.
They cannot be married.
Wow.
They see it there are some who see it, even some men have that misconception that it's a form of rebellion against the male gender.
Okay.
But the truth is, it is not a form of rebellion against the male gender. It started off as a pressure group to pressurize government first to make laws and adopt international charters that embraces equality and gives room for each gender to thrive, irrespective of race, gender, or sex. You understand? So it's emanated as a pressure group, first to pressure governments, as opposed to the ideas that are flying around these days as if it is an anti-husband agenda or an anti-male agenda. That was never the origin.
Which is why we said in the beginning that it's not so much about the domestic
issues. It is way
it's
beyond that.
Than that. Yes.
But I think, again, for me, it is, again, we have the online vuvuzelas.
What?
Okay. Who have now reduced the conversation to basics of... I think, don't you think that this set of people are actually the ones watering down the enormity or the seriousness that people should be paying attention to this conversation or this movement? Because again, for me, sometimes when I see certain handles on social media and then I see the people having the conversation, I just feel that they talk from a place of hurt. They've been hurt either by their parents or by their spouses or by
men as come.
You understand? Or by the relationship that they ventured into. Being hurt is valid. But now using it as a tool against all men, and most times they use the adjective all men. you see, so this kind of things are what is watering down this narrative of conversation that is not even making the men feel like, you know what, are you guys out there to go for a jugular? You see the way these people act, they are very vicious.
I agree.
They go after things, maybe not in Africa, because again the system does not allow that. They go after the male wealth. They are even now using it as a form of business to get whatever the men have at the end of the day. I think that this kind of people within the system, or maybe is a name misappropriation, we shouldn't even be calling them feminists in the first place. Right? So basically they are the ones actually watering down the narrative. Okay, that's how I see.
So to your point then, who is a feminist? Maybe we should clear the air right here and now. Who is a feminist?
Okay, a feminist, in my opinion, is anybody who advocates for equity.
Right.
You know, for equity, for women to be treated in an equitable manner. Okay. For them to be able to enjoy the basic rights in irrespective of age, irrespective of sex, irrespective of age, gender, color, you know. They should enjoy the normal privileges that have been attributed to them by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If a woman we all have a right to life. Yes. If she has a right to life, anything that threatens our existence, which include access to medical care, should be an issue of concern for all of us.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yeah. Absolutely.
A girl child that's like 10, 15, 12, 13 in the bedroom of a man should be an issue of concern for all of us. Because it may most likely deny her access to education and puts her in a vulnerable position. You understand? Yeah. And like I said earlier, the law always backs it. The Child Rights Act makes it a criminal offense for any child. The definition of the Child Rights Act, a child is anybody below the age of 18. So if you are below 18, you have no business in the bedroom of any man. Okay. But you know what is funny? There are some states in Nigeria that has refused to adopt that law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they feel that it does not serve their interests. But some of these laws are there. Even under Goodluck Jonathan's regime, fantastic laws were made. But there's even not enough awareness about some of these things.
Yes.
There's even not enough awareness. So to me, sometimes I look at those social media ninjas and I say to myself, it will either be lack of proper education. You know, there's a way the law works.
I think they should be in classroom and the next time you're having your advocacy.
Yes, they should.
And I see everybody behind the scene also nodding as well.
Yeah. I think sometimes lack of proper education, lack of legal guidance.
Yes.
This, like I said, this movement did not isolate in a vacuum. It's isolated, strongly founded on law, and that's why it has sustained itself for this long.
See?
So, but for Nigeria, we need to find a structure around it.
Okay.
A proper structure. Bring people together, everybody together, both the good and the bad. Apples, bring everybody in a basket. Let's begin to reorient the system. Find a structure around it. Let's have a common goal. These are the rights of women and girls in this society. What can we do? I can guarantee you that if you build a structure around it, just like they did with the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, the goal is clear. The message is clear. Because now, sometimes when you even mention feminism, some men, they become defensive.
Yeah, like I said.
Yes. They become defensive.
Yes.
I want to take my time to explain to my husband. My husband like, are you serious? I say, yes. So if you see those things on social media, know that it is not correct.
You see?
It is not correct, Lola.
Yes, many of these things are
It
not
is not correct.
Why are you calling Lola? No?
It is not correct. I just want you to know that they are not correct.
If you say men has come, what is the constitutional provision that backs your claim? So just like you have said, many of these people, they are speaking from the place of trauma.
It is trauma.
Place of childhood hurts,
Yes.
hurts, things that probably they themselves have gone through. They have witnessed women going through.
Okay.
But they have not been able to channel the energy in the right direction. So it's that sense of direction, clear sense of direction is the first thing that we need to get right when it has to do with feminism in Nigeria especially.
Okay, so let's look at the role that the government and religious bodies have played in these. How would you appraise them?
Okay, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay, which is subject to several arguments. True, there are, we lawyers, there are several school of thoughts, diverse interpretations when it comes to these things. I think that government has made significant progress. First, adopting the Child's Right Act. Secondly, we have constitutional provisions. People enforce their rights every day in courts and they'll be heard. There are tons and tons and tons of fundamental human rights that are being filed for every day. So I think that government has done not 100% well, but I can say in a commendable extent. Government has played its part significantly. And there are a lot of very wonderful organizations run by men. You'll be surprised that promote some of these things. Like I mentioned earlier, writers. We need to give them credit. There have been a lot of works that have Chinua Achebe, all of these things have brought our cultural struggles of the women to limelight, even up to the international space. So I think for government, I can give government a pass.
Okay.
But we need, there's still room for progress.
Okay.
Especially with regards to enforcement.
Okay.
There's room for enforcement.
It was the point that I was going to make very quickly that I hear 25% affirmative action. How many women are rising up to the occasion? For instance, if you say, okay, there is a level playing field for you to contest, for example, for an official, a political position or government positions and everything. Are the women taking the bull by the horn to say, you know what, we're going to be at the forefront of this? What is the agenda? Are the women coming? You basically just talked about having a proper structure. Are the women looking forward to saying the next coming election, we want to ensure that out of, for instance, in the parliament, we should have 50 women who will make sure that they win those offices and can begin to continue to champion the cause of women at the end of the day in terms of being there where it matters and being where decisions are made. We know that in the corporate world, you see women. I think most of the big banks, the tier 1 banks in Nigeria, currently you have women managing that, and that is fantastic. But when you come to the political scene, for me, I'd ask, are the women who, again, you have mentioned, have the numbers, are they living up to the expectation?
For now, there are pockets of groups doing their bits in fairness. You understand? There are a lot of women coming together in small groups to do some work. And but just like I said earlier, before we take the blame out there, we have to first be reflective, introspective. What are we women? How well have we been able to come together? To pull through on this course. You understand? Just like I said earlier, we need a larger structure than the little bits and pieces of groups that we have all over the place. We need to come together, and the truth is we have the numbers. We have the numbers. If we choose to say, okay, today we want to have the first female president, if we come together, we can achieve it.
That is a word out there for the women. I think it's time that you come together, have a proper structure, and ensure that you can go all out, and if possible, win those seats and make laws that favors you. Right? So we go on a short break. We will be back. Welcome back from the short break. Yes, so Lola.
Yes, thank you, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
All right, Barrister. So now let's look at, I know we've touched on this in passing when we're talking about the general ideas behind feminism. So let's look at some of the issues now. We previously mentioned or touched on it. So let's just expatiate a bit on what the issues are, the key issues, those issues that society needs to be aware of and needs to address quickly.
Okay. Some of the issues that on the front burner for now is one, the cultural practice of widow marginalization. Widowed practices of our cultures, in
Africa.
In Africa, there's almost no culture in Africa that does not have some form of, I don't know what to call it, some form of practice around widowhood. In fact, in Africa, it seems as if when a man dies, automatically the woman's problem.
Let me even, that's touching. And I'm going to raise an example. I think I have a classmate, you have this alumni WhatsApp group and everything, and I had a classmate who lost the husband recently. Barely few days that the husband died, the family came and then swept the entire property, leaving her with nothing. As I speak to you, we had to contribute money for her so that the kids can get back to school.
What? Wow.
I'm saying this is not up to a month.
It's reality. It's the reality of what happens.
And it's crazy because I felt like, what the heck is that? Like, the corpse has not been laid to rest, and that has already happened.
So this speaks to the issues around
and nobody even bothers to ask questions as to who owns what.
That's the reality for you. But of course, she can seek redress, legally. She can take legal action. And I can guarantee you some people will end up in prison. Because we have laws. That's what I was saying earlier. These laws are there.
The funny thing about this is sometimes when women are even reluctant to come up to seek redress, because again, you especially when you're from the same community,
they are afraid,
and you're thinking, what is, and the parents will say, don't worry, God will see you through, you can start all over again and stuff like that. It's pretty much crazy.
It's there. They're afraid of the consequences in terms of culture, maybe
being blacklisted,
being blackmailed.
Well, how can the legal profession help address that, to build that confidence, to say, irrespective, you can go out and seek redress and nothing would happen. I think that if they have that pillar, I will call it, or that strong backing, and knowing fully well that nothing would happen to them if they seek redress, more persons might just be stepping out to take action.
Okay, don't worry. After now, I can get more details on this issue.
Okay.
Maybe we can see how she can get intervention for free.
Okay.
There are a lot is going on behind. Like I said, there are a lot of efforts are put into some of these things. But like I said, there's not enough awareness, in the right direction as it should be out there. I think, like I said about structure, if we can come together, The social media warriors, they are, ninjas, they are behind the keypads. There are those who can go to the
They
field.
can even use that, their keypad
positively, exactly, to promote the, the right, promote the cause in the right manner.
Yes.
I can tell you that the sky will be our limit.
Exactly.
So widowed practices, I talked about the Child Rights Act earlier, that there are some states that have not adopted the Child Rights Act because they feel that it will prevent them from marrying young girls. So there are states that have, and also there are widowed practices. There are some cultures very many cultures in Africa where a man dies and have female children is considered not to have any children.
Wow.
They cannot be heir. Yes. Whoa. Women in many cultures in Africa are not beneficiaries of inheritance from their father's estates. That's one part that I like the Yoruba culture for. Yes. There are very many cultures that if women are excluded, you don't even attend family meetings. In very many cultures, you are not considered in the scheme of things. So there are very many challenges out there, out of school children, early childhood marriage, and all of these issues.
I think those are the key things that should be in the front burner. I think I'm inspired, and given the fact that a recent issue as close as that just happened, I felt very bad for the young lady and stuff like that. I think that that's winding down.
Yes.
Laura?
So yes, to wrap up, let's look ahead. Let's look at the future now. So what is the future for feminism to your mind?
Okay, for now, like I said earlier, there have been pockets of effort around there.
Yes.
I think we need an umbrella. We need an umbrella body that brings everybody together. Then we will together decide what the structure will be. The goals, those that are not really acting right, part of the train that is off its tracks, we'll find a way to bring it back.
Okay.
Continuous education, let them know what the law says, how you can seek redress. It's not just enough to make noise. You can make noise, but how are these issues enforced?
Strategically.
Yes, it has to be strategic. You don't have to throw your weight all over the place. It is not an anti-male agenda.
And that is what
it is not in fact, if you go through the history of there have been men, kings, and people who have made significant impact. Even in Nigeria, there are men foundations that are supporting the cause of girls, helping widows to start up trades, helping them. There are a lot of things that are going on. So we need to find an umbrella body, like I said, bring ourselves together, and we can be anything we want to be.
Yes.
That is the point. We can be anything that we want to be. I think on that note, it's been an amazing time listening to our barrister here. She's been a wonderful friend, and we appreciate you for coming. I think to wrap up for me, the key thing is be strategic. Women have the power to become whatever it is they want to be. And we also have the numbers. And then they also have the numbers to become what they want to be. And the keypad warriors out there who have tainted feminism to be something that is not. We're appealing to you, please. You can channel your energy positively. We love you. Course like this, being more strategic, retracing the step, and then understanding what the goals and the objectives are, as she has rightly mentioned, are very key, crucial, and germane towards the upward movement of the course, right? So on that note, I would say a big thank you to everyone seated here and the listeners out there. We appreciate you.
Yes, and then in wrapping up, it's just to remind everyone that we should all be feminists.
Yes, we should be.
Now we know what it means. So again, we just quickly want to mention this episode has been brought to you in partnership with Latena. So thank you very much once again, Barrister. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you want to get in touch with our barrister here, I think she can just give her either LinkedIn handle or social media. You can interact with her. And if you want to join the movement, you can also
on LinkedIn, Osarobo, Osarobo Enwongo-Iwok.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Iwok spelling?
IWOK.
Okay. Yeah,
Nice.
you've heard from her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, viewers.
Subscribe,
like, subscribe, share, spread the word, drop
get
your comments, share your stories, talk to us for free services. Okay, I was just kidding.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
for now.
bye.
Bye for
Bye for
now.
now.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Thank you.